Now to a housing issue of a very different kind, that of puffins. The new book, Project Puffin, chronicles the story of a massive effort to get seabirds to return to colonies along the Maine coast, which had been abandoned for more than 100 years. Joining me now is the co-author of that book, who also chronicled the story with his terrific photographs. You know him as a Boston Globe columnist as well. Derrick Jackson, bearing gifts, Derrick. I love that. What do you got?
The Project Puffin hat, the
Beautiful
official hat.
Is that for me, I hope? Yes, the answer is yes. So Derrick Jackson and puffins, I can't quite get my arms around that. We'll get to that in a couple of seconds. Why did they disappear from these islands off the coast of Maine?
Hunters killed them off, coastal fishermen, coastal farmers. Just unfortunately, it wasn't for any glamour. Many birds like terns, herons, whatnot, were killed for their feathers for women's hats. The puffins' demise was much more inglorious. It was just because they were like basically chickens.
Your co-author, Stephen Kress, started this project, what, 40-some years ago in the early 70s. But what I didn't quite get is why. I mean, they're not in danger. They're actually in huge supplies, wrong choice word, Newfoundland, Iceland, those sort of.
Right.
So why did it matter that he restore them to these locales?
Yeah, Steve happened to run across an old journal that said puffins had existed on the coast of Maine in the 1800s. And so, and actually there was a fair amount of resistance to the idea because in fact they were not endangered as a species. But he says, this is a chance to look at what was lost and a chance to restore it to its former full beauty. And once after it started with bringing chicks down from Newfoundland and hand raising them, hoping that they would remember his island and not being born in Newfoundland as their home to come back and breed years later.
So that was a critical issue, that whole, and how'd they deal with that issue?
The translocation?
Yeah.
Oh, it was unbelievable. They went up, they grabbed chicks out of holes in Newfoundland, then by car, by plane, by boat, they brought them back to Maine, and then cut up fish, and then laid the, fed the chicks the fish. And they started with 6 chicks in '73, and then after that, 50 and then 100 chicks a year for several years.
How'd you get involved? I mean, we all know you from the Globe, and I have to say, Puffin is not what I associate with Derrick Jackson. How'd you get involved in this? By the way, the photographs are fabulous. We're showing some of them. The writing is. How'd you get involved in this thing?
Well, I got it. My wife got me into nature. She's an old Girl Scout. She got me in nature, and so I actually did a story for my old newspaper, Newsday, in 1986 when the first breeding puffins, the breeding was only about 5 years old. And I just loved the story, just loved the fact that we can actually restore something. And fast forward, I just kept doing updates on it. And finally, Steve asked me to help him with the book.
Has this ever been done before? Seabirds restored?
No seabird had ever been restored to an island that humans had killed it off.
I almost hate asking this question, so why am I saying it? Well, it's already too late.
Right.
If they weren't as cute as they are, and they're about the cutest bird ever, would he have been involved? Would there have been interest in this, or would it just, essentially, would they still not be off the coast of Maine?
That's a great question. I think, like a lot of keystone species, why do we care about polar bears? Why do we care about killer whale? I mean, obviously, various animals have a cuddly factor, they have a beauty factor, or they have the eagle, the great predator factor. And the thing about it, though, is that even though the puffin was not endangered, by bringing it back and its cuddliness did help. The techniques previously not known, not used, have now been are being used to save about 50 species of birds in 14 countries.
So tell the end of the story. I assume most people know you wouldn't have written the book if there was not a positive outcome, or it's unlikely. Right. There's been great results, no?
Great results, and they are now sort of like a canary in the coal mine.
Meaning what?
Because the puffins were reestablished in Maine, which happens to be the southernmost end of their breeding range in North America. So guess what? Climate change. And so now there's, the last 3 to 4 years, the project, and I actually was on the island 2 weeks ago photographing again, and what's really, troubling and sad is that the puffins are now bringing in different species of fish that used to be more known in mid-Atlantic waters, and some of those fish, most notably the butterfish, those fish are too oval for the chicks to eat. So there's some risk that actually a chick had starved while I was there.
So there could be a crisis man-made yet again, just of a totally different variety.
That's exactly right.
This book is great. Your work is great, Derrick Jackson.
Thank
It's great
you.
to
Thank
see
you, Jim.
Project Puffin, it really is terrific.